Hello everyone, we are approaching Christmas and nothing can be as Christmassy as a little murder and violence. In this game, Murder Diaries 3, we hear a horrific story that alludes to how dirty life can be, but also ideas about problems in our society, how we have created a system where people in need do not get help. In other words, do not be fooled by the game's title, which includes something as innocent as Santa, because this is a really dark and dystopian gaming experience. In this review we take a closer look at how Murder Diaries 3 Santa's Trail of Blood works, how it's experienced on the Nintendo Switch and whether it is worth buying. This game is a first-person 3D game where you play a free-floating ghost. You're in the air all the time and you only use the left or right stick to navigate. There's no possibility to stand still, you are constantly in motion. But there's hardly any reason to stand still because the game's courses are short. They usually take no longer than 5 to 10 minutes to complete. The point of the game is to float from ring to ring and thus make the story progress. Every time you pass through a ring, a new dialogue is played. After finding all the rings, the course is completed. This is the game idea itself, and to be completely honest, that's all. There's nothing more to do in the game. No side quests, no NPCs, nothing, no interactions at all. Hover from ring to ring, listen to some dialogue and move on to the next level. I think it's very monotonous and to sum up, quite boring actually. I understand that the idea of this game is that it revolves around the story, but despite that, there is nothing more to do than float around and listen to other people's experiences. The graphics are perfectly okay. This is because the game developers have managed to create environments that are in line with the story. Most often you are in worn buildings, mental hospitals with blood splatter, and so on. The developers have used a darker color palette, which makes the surroundings feel eerie and gives the feeling that this is the last place on Earth you want to stay. Even Santa looks like a killer, a bit reminiscent of Jason in the Halloween movies. I think the graphics are one of the more interesting aspects of the game. They have succeeded well in creating varied and inhospitable environments. The control sometimes feels a little tricky to handle. Even though you only use the left or right stick, it's as if the ghost you play sometimes takes its own initiative without my permission. All of a sudden it's up in the roof and flying or diving towards the ground. I tried both with Joy-Cons and the Pro Controller, and it happened regardless of which control I used. In addition, I thought the control was extremely sensitive. If you turned in one direction, the ghost got crazy and was all over the screen. It was particularly noticeable in narrow areas, such as corridors. But the problem can be solved in the options menu, where you can reduce the sensitivity of the control. Unfortunately, I perceived the game's control as a disappointment. Controlling the ghost didn't feel so good. Murder Diaries 3 revolves around the game's story. There have been a lot of horrors and you have to follow and investigate. At first I thought it was a rather uninteresting story, but gradually I understood more and was sucked into the plot. One big problem I had was that I never managed to complete the game, probably due to a bug. In the last course of the game, you have to pass a ring that is placed in a really bad place. I think I spent an hour getting through the ring, from all possible angles, from the side, from above, from below. Whatever I did, didn't work. If you have a solution to the problem, please comment in the section below, because whatever I did, I could not cross the ring and progress in the game. This game is a fairly short game. It should be possible to complete in probably 2 hours. The graphics feel perfectly okay and the story has a relatively large depth that deals with heavy subjects. Unfortunately, I didn't like how to control the ghost. Sometimes it feels like it acts without me doing anything. In terms of gameplay, it was a rather monotonous and sometimes quite boring experience. I wish there was a little more variety. This game is now available in Nintendo's eShop, and maybe it can be interesting if you like story-driven games. Otherwise, you can skip this game. Please subscribe to my channel for more reviews and other content to come. Have a good day, bye.